In Miami, living life to the fullest means going to extremes.
So I cartwheeled over end, landed on my head, which broke my neck.
In this city, wild street parties last till dawn.
We got a compound leg, we got a facial injury.
Dangerous creatures slither across suburban backyards. And new arrivals come with high hopes. But in a city where too much is never enough.
I shouldn't be walking today. I shouldn't be breathing today.
People can become overexposed. With its blazing sunshine and tropical warmth, Miami is an extreme sports mecca. And skydiving is one of its hottest attractions. More than 100,000 skydivers a year take the plunge in Florida, flocking from across the U.S. and around the world. These daredevils say skydiving provides the ultimate high, as they drop to the ground at 120 miles per hour in just 60 seconds. But for some divers, the thrill is mixed with dread.
Anybody can screw up. Unfortunately, in skydiving, you can make small mistakes. The consequences of your mistakes can be very, very grave. I'm living proof of that.
Proof that accidents do happen. Sean Engbrecht is about to make his first jump in 8 months. In a sense, he's a dead man walking.
I shouldn't be walking today. I shouldn't be breathing today.
The last time Sean strapped on a parachute, it almost cost him his life. During his career, Sean had made 4,500 successful jumps. First as a special ops skydiver in the Army, and then as a skydiving instructor. But April 21st, 2001 was different. A tandem jump with a student at this range in Naples, Florida, turned into every skydiver's worst nightmare.
The first parachute, nothing happened. I pulled the ripcord to open the parachute, and we continued in free fall. I looked up and said, this is not survivable, and I'm gonna die today. I got hazy at about 1,000 feet, the last probably 5 to 8 seconds.
With the partially open chute above him, Sean and his students spiraled toward the ground at 90 miles an hour.
I told my passenger he needed to settle his affairs with his God, because he was going to be dead in under a minute.
Accidents like Sean's don't happen often. But when they do, they are often fatal. On average, 33 people die annually because of parachute failures. And high winds, tangled lines, and late deployments of parachutes lead to more than 1,000 serious injuries.
Flare all the way down, all the way, there you go, nice one.
Like Sean, TK Hayes was one of the unlucky ones. In March 2001, TK was doing a dangerous stunt called pond swooping, skydiving over a body of water.
I kind of got a little low in the water, and as I sink into the water, I got my knees in the water. So I cartwheeled over end, 2 or 3 times. Our problem is that we didn't have enough water, so I rolled out of our pond, and on my second cartwheel landed on my head, which broke my neck.
TK was rushed to a local hospital, where doctors fused 3 vertebrae and used metal plates to stabilize his spine.
My prognosis was 3 months with a big rigid collar on my neck, a lot of physical therapy and rehab to rebuild upper body strength.
Today, TK still suffers from numbness in his arm, along with degenerative discs in his neck and osteoarthritis.
My right arm still does not function quite correctly. I have a little bit of numbness and weakness in my arm directly from the neck injury. I still need to build more upper body strength, and I'm going to continue to do that, and that's going to be an ongoing thing for as long as it takes.
TK has already faced the fear of getting back in the air. Sean Engbrecht is about to. But John Matthews may never get the chance, because for this one-time champion skydiver, getting back on his feet is going to be challenge enough.
Captain, we have a snake bite.
The anti-venom response unit in Miami-Dade County
South African polyvill.
has just received a 911 emergency call.
Make sure to put it in a Ziploc and put some cool ice on it.
As this unique squad mobilizes,
How's the patient doing?
the victim is already being rushed to the hospital. Because along with its lush tropical setting, there lurks a hidden danger in Miami. When snakes bite,
You have her on a ventilator, have it intubated, I would imagine.
the anti-venom response unit rolls.
We're feeding Spot.
Captain Al Cruz and his team field calls 24 hours a day from people attacked by all types of venomous snakes.
Subtle as a snake. See, the rat has no clue.
They average 2 to 3 snakebite calls per week.
We're the only ones of its kind in the nation, so the entire country relies on us when it comes to exotic snake bites.
The unit is based in Florida because of its vast variety of snakes. 74 species in all, more than any other state in the country.
You can't ever trust a snake, and that's why some people that own venomous snakes, sooner or later they get tagged.
The anti-venom response unit was formed in 1998 to deal with deadly snake bites in Florida. But now the unit ships life-saving anti-venom throughout the United States and around the world.
It's quite costly. It's about $1,000 a vial, and you need about 16 vials on an average bite.
The centerpiece of the anti-venom response unit is this refrigerator, filled with dozens of bottles of anti-venoms
This one comes from Johannesburg, South Africa.
for almost every kind of poisonous snake bite.
This refrigerator holds the lifeline to many individuals that house venomous snakes throughout the entire country.
They're kept under lock and key because each vial is like liquid gold. The most rare anti-venom is worth as much as $1,200 per vial.
Snake venom is the most complex poisons known to man.
In the next hour, 16 vials of anti-venom will be used to try and save the life of the latest snakebite victim. October 20th, 2001. 300,000 avid motorcyclists kick off a 4-day street party in Daytona Beach, Florida. The event is called Biketoberfest, a rowdy celebration where sometimes things get out of control. Before last call, it's likely that some of these partiers will fall prey to the highly combustible mix of alcohol and gasoline.
I think it's going to be a busy night.
Yeah.
Town's packed.
Roaming through the dense crowd, ready to respond to an emergency, are the motor medics of the Daytona Beach Fire Department.
Happens to be Biketoberfest, so we need to get on the bikes, get quick response, to help people out.
The motor medics are called in whenever large crowds are expected. It's the only way to get through this sea of bodies rapidly.
We usually coordinate our efforts in a confined area, someplace that an engine or an ambulance can't get in, and our average response time is 1 to 2 minutes.
During Biketoberfest, there are 2 teams of motor medics on constant patrol.
We're able to begin advanced life support in a matter of 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, not a problem. Get some gloves on here. Versus 5 to 6 minutes that an ambulance can get on scene. What happened to you?
Took a spill, I hurt my neck.
We're able to get there, assess the situation, assess the patient, establish an IV or an airway, and push all our first-run cardiac or necessary drugs. Have you had anything to drink today?
A few beers.
Okay.
They carry virtually everything on their bikes that a paramedic team carries on a truck,
Take any medicines for anything?
just in condensed form.
We carry a full range of IV solutions. We also carry Narcan, which is for overdoses of a narcotic. We carry a downsized version of a defibrillator monitor. We're able to monitor cardiac rhythms, defibrillate quickly.
The need for this kind of medical preparedness is very real.
1, 2, 3.
At last year's Biketoberfest, 2 people died in motorcycle crashes, and more than 100 were injured. This year, Battalion Chief Jeff Smith is in charge of the motor medics.
Looks like we got the Chinese fire drill going here with all these people running by. This is one of the reasons why we use these motors, is because foot traffic can get just as bad and hazardous for us getting through it as motor or automobile traffic. Because this is early, it's going to get a lot worse.
And so will the calls the motor medics must respond to, jumping from simple intoxication to life-threatening trauma. From 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, Eloisa Perez sorts vegetables at an herb packing plant, even though she's 9 months pregnant. She can't afford not to.
I pack rosemary, basil, chives, oregano, mint, and dill.
Like most migrant workers, Eloisa has to work hard just to get by. She earns $8,500 a year, just above the poverty level set by the U.S. government.
The fact is that many of them clearly do not have insurance, are not capable of getting insurance based on various situations.
Florida is the second largest crop-growing state in the nation, with over 180,000 migrant workers and 250,000 other seasonal farm workers. They are one of the poorest groups in the United States, and among those most in need of health care.
I think overall, the state of farm workers is certainly much less than the average person that we would meet on the street. And that's because many of these people have been working out in the fields from the times they were children. Jaime, how are you today?
Fine.
Yep. What's been happening since the last time I saw you?
Dr. Dennis Penzel is the Chief Medical Director of Suncoast Community Health Centers.
Having any shortness of breath or chest pain?
Suncoast began as a part-time program in 1977 to reach out to migrant workers like Eloisa and Jaime. It's since grown to 3 full-time clinics.
The biggest risk that we see, and that is the biggest threat to their health, certainly is the exposure to chemicals and pesticides in the environment. Look straight ahead for me. That is clearly one of the most dangerous and potentially life-threatening down the road. Lift your shirt up for me, Jaime. In addition, there is a large number of other occupational injuries concerning musculoskeletal conditions, various issues of chronic low back pain, joint pains, arthritis. There's also accidents in the environment. They will fall off ladders, fall off trees. And relax your head. There's other diseases, asthma, respiratory illnesses, allergies, skin conditions. Basically, you name it. It goes right up and down the whole list of all kinds of chronic illnesses.
7 months ago, when Eloisa first learned she was pregnant, she started coming to the Suncoast Center in Ruskin, Florida, for regular prenatal checkups.
No.
Without medical insurance and little or no money to pay for health care, Suncoast was the only place she could turn to. In fact, if it weren't for the clinic, it's likely many local migrant workers wouldn't get any health care at all.
We are one of the safety net providers in terms of, well, we will see people who nobody else will see. We will see them when they're sick, and we'll get them plugged into a system of comprehensive health care. And they know that they'll have a medical home, and I think that's very important to their overall health care and the continuity of health care. If they cannot get medical care or medications, they're really up the creek. And so there is a need for migrant and community health centers all over the country to take care of the patients who need us.
In the United States, 500 farm workers a day suffer some sort of injury, many of them migrant workers. And without proper treatment, they risk losing their jobs and their lives.
County Fire Rescue, what is the additional help that's needed?
My husband got bit by a
a pygmy rattlesnake on the finger.
Is it at a certain hospital or is it a house?
A 911 call comes into Fire Station 48 in Miami-Dade County, Florida.
Our ETA will be 15 minutes.
A man has been bitten by a poisonous snake.
Here, get this cooler ready.
His life is now in the hands of Captain Al Cruz from the Anti-Venom Response Unit.
We've had 97 calls this year already.
And the clock is ticking.
When someone's been bitten, time is of the essence. Normally, in the United States, you probably have about 4 to 6 hours to live.
In this case, the victim was bitten by a pygmy rattler. Al Cruz scans the numerous vials of anti-venom until he finds just the right kind.
We brought 30 vials of our own anti-venom in case the hospitals didn't.
Al arrives at the emergency room of the Memorial Regional Hospital, where patient Scott Clements is in pain.
Pretty much hurts a lot, quite a bit. Got a lot of burning sensation. Now I feel like I'm running a fever in the stomach, kind of nauseated. It's pretty bad.
I was curious, why is it fluid underneath and not at the actual insertion site?
Al takes a closer look at the bite on Scott's finger.
When you get bitten by a venomous snake, most people think that you're going to get 2 obvious hollow marks there, and it's going to be very visible. A lot of times you only inject 1 fang, and that's probably the case.
Based on the size of the bite and the time elapsed since the snake attack, Al quickly adds 11 bottles of anti-venom to Scott's IV. Depending on the species and the amount of venom injected, snakebite victims can die in just 20 minutes.
On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt, what would you say?
It was a 10. I felt a fang enter my finger.
Victims with bites like Scott's can lose tissue and muscle.
He felt a metallic taste in his mouth, which is a good indicator that you've received at least a moderate envenomation because it's reached the central core of the body and you're actually feeling it in your palates. I mean, that's about as big as you're ever going to see one.
This is the pygmy rattler that bit Scott. As dangerous as these rattlers can be, they actually do more good than harm.
And these are the fangs right here.
Ironically, the protein from the venom of this deadly snake is used to make heart drugs that play a vital role in saving thousands of lives every year.
And when I grabbed the bottom of the bag is when he hit me.
But worldwide, close to 50,000 people die from snake bites.
The minute that venom enters your system, it's like applying a drop of oil to a boiling pot of spaghetti. And whatever is happening on the outside, it's tenfold inside the body. Did you know you were bit the minute it happened?
Oh yeah, the second it happened.
Treating snake bites like Scott's is an exact science. It's up to Al to calculate just the right formula.
This is not a cookbook. Treating snake bites is a balancing act. Is he going to need the anti-venom? Is it going to help? Is he going to lose an extremity or a digit? It's a very complex issue.
This time, Scott was lucky. He's expected to make a full recovery. But for the anti-venom unit, the next emergency is only 1 bite away. Almost 300 miles from Miami, Zephyr Hills sits along the central corridor of West Florida. For skydivers, it doesn't get any better than this. But for this family, it doesn't get any worse.
Is that comfortable?
Yes.
29-year-old John Matthews used to be a championship skydiver.
This is John with his mother. He was really excited. Said, my mom did a jump.
Lean forward again for me. I'll pull this.
Today, John can't walk,
Well, this shirt's almost too small. He has gained some weight.
dress himself, or make his own breakfast. He needs the help of his mother and father to do just about everything, all because of one terrifying moment in November 2000. The sun was out, and the weather was clear. John started out on a perfect precision jump.
He was known to be a very, very safe skydiver. He did not do fast landings or whip approaches.
Then, as he got close to the ground, the unexpected happened.
He was coming in for a landing, and a little dust devil caught his chute and collapsed it.
And he fell about 50 feet going 60 miles an hour.
He was probably looking up at his canopy trying to get everything straightened out, get it redeployed. The only thing he said about the accident, he said, I didn't see the ground.
Miraculously, John was alive, despite devastating injuries.
His left pelvis was fractured. He fractured 2 vertebrae in his lower spine, fracture in a metatarsal bone in his right foot. But the worst injury, of course, was the traumatic brain injury. Okay, go ahead and eat your waffle, and we've got to go to work.
The impact to John's head left him in a coma for 4 weeks.
We'll have to check your email later.
It also caused memory loss, an inability to focus, and loss of muscle control. And it left John struggling to speak.
When I hurt myself with this sport, I had a recovery time that I had to deal with.
Okay. A brain injury is not like fracturing something. It changes everybody's lives instantly. Yeah, let's go.
4 times a week, John's mother must now take him to Memorial Hospital in Gulfport.
Hey, John.
Hi.
How are you doing this morning?
For comprehensive therapy.
Push down with your arm first. There you go. You want me to hold that for you? Okay.
Today, John will find out just how far he has come in his recovery and how much further he'll be able to go.
Wake up those muscles. Now go.
As the Biketoberfest weekend unfolds, things become increasingly hectic. For the Daytona Beach motor medics, the adrenaline is building.
You start thinking of scenarios that you've been to before, so maybe you can put the pieces together when you get there. When you come up, you just kind of envelop the whole scene. Try to get the big picture.
Engine 1 discovered. Copy, engine 1.
How much did you have to drink tonight?
I don't know.
Couple beers or more? More?
Any recreational drugs?
Sometimes the calls are simple. Cases of too much alcohol or too many drugs.
Talk to me.
How much have you had to drink? How many of those pills did you take?
Police officers found this woman lying in the grass, unconscious.
I know it's there somewhere. We tried to arouse her with a painful stimuli, a sternal rub. Had no response. We went ahead and opened the airway, got her on some O2, started an IV. How many of those pills did you take?
I don't know how many.
You don't know how many? And because we don't know the background, we administered naloxone, Narcan, just in case she had a narcotic derivative drug on board or something which would alter her consciousness.
Hang on, we're going to the hospital here in a minute, all right?
Hold that IV up for me real quick.
The patient is stable, but not likely to be the last. Cases like this are all too common at an event like Biketoberfest.
I don't think it'll work. She doesn't really show.
You want to check a BGO?
When the ambulance arrives, she is ready for transport to a hospital. Precious minutes, perhaps the difference between life and death, have been saved.
By the time we get there, they'll be able to give us a quick synopsis of what has happened to the patient. What the patient's chief complaint is, and any special information that we should be aware of, including past medical histories, allergies to medicines, things of that nature.
As the hours pass, the calls seem to get progressively worse.
How we doing? What we got?
2 people riding side by side on a bike. Whether alcohol was involved or not, we don't know yet.
Can you wiggle your feet for me?
Start with those.
Your legs hurt down here?
Having a conversation, not paying attention to the road they're going down. Bumped into each other. She lost control, and you can see where she went down over here and laid the bike on its side and slid into the curb, and then the bike continued on down about 15, 16 feet.
Florida has no mandatory helmet law for bikers, so the incidence of injury in motorcycle accidents is higher. But in this case, her head injuries turn out to be minor.
No helmet. It's a miracle she wasn't hurt worse, or we don't have a terminal case here.
It is now nearing midnight. The bars and the parties are going full swing.
Oh, here you go, these girls.
This is when the action heats up.
The alcohol becomes involved. There's darkness. People aren't aware of what's going on. Their sensory perception's down and no reaction.
Experience tells them that as the celebration progresses, the excesses of driving and drinking will become more dangerous. And for these motor medics, that means the night is still young. Every winter, Ruskin, Florida, a town of about 8,300, sees its population swell to almost 12,000 when the migrant farm workers arrive at harvest time. At the Suncoast Clinic, 40% of their patients are migrant workers. Their long hours and strenuous labor can cause chronic health problems.
The bodies of many of the farm workers that we take care of at 40 years old seem to be similar to other individuals who are 60 years old. The work is clearly backbreaking.
In the U.S., up to 40% of migrant workers suffer from respiratory diseases. They are also 6 times more likely to suffer skin disorders than other kinds of workers. The conditions are especially dangerous for Eloisa Perez and other pregnant women.
I just work and I don't do anything else.
Eloisa stopped working only days before her due date.
I work to save a little, so when my baby is born, I will have something.
Okay, vamos a tomar sus vitales. Okay. We have a lot of patients that are single mothers, and they have to work. They don't have any other income. Okay, muy bien. Vamos a tomar la presión.
For pregnant workers like Eloisa, the real issue is prenatal care. In the first trimester, only 60% of migrant workers have prenatal exams, and some never get them at all.
Presión está bien, Eloisa. They don't think that it is necessary to get prenatal care because their idea is, well, I feel okay, baby is moving, I'm eating, so, I don't have to go to the clinic,
52% of pregnant migrant workers are underweight. That, combined with malnutrition, can cause premature deliveries and higher risks of birth defects.
Esas tres cosas son inmediatas. Pero ¿qué otra cosa?
Eloisa is hoping her hard work hasn't put her baby in jeopardy. In Miami, jumpers say the adrenaline-pumping high of skydiving is unbeatable. But each year, more than 1,000 people pay a price for wiping out. For Sean Engbrecht and his tandem jump passenger, it was a near-fatal descent.
90 miles an hour, flat on my back with a 230-pound passenger on my chest. You don't live through that experience.
Sean's passenger suffered a broken hip and 3 broken vertebrae. He was lucky. But based on the force of his impact, Sean had almost a 100% chance of serious damage to his kidney, lungs, or heart. But his doctors were amazed.
They notified next of kin and said that we know he sustained enormous internal damage, we just can't find it yet. And in one of those 1 in a million flukes, I didn't.
All those incisions heal up for you?
Yep.
Okay.
Sean spent 3 months in a neck brace,
Twist to one side for me.
When his bones healed, he went into physical therapy, rebuilding his muscles and learning how to walk again.
Bend to one side. He's done excellent, and probably in the top 5% of anybody with this sort of injury. I think you're healed, man. It's done. It is done.
With his doctor's final approval, Sean can get back in the air,
Up. Good job.
while John Matthews is just lucky to be alive.
Now put your hand down here for me.
The severe brain damage caused by a catastrophic skydiving accident has made it difficult for him to think, speak, or even move.
I want you to look up and open that cabinet for me. Open this one.
For the last 2.5 months, he's been relearning basic tasks at Memorial Hospital in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Good. You got weight on both legs?
4 days a week, John undergoes intensive therapy,
And then you can say, thank you again.
including therapy to relearn everything from basic writing skills
How much?
89 cents.
to simple math.
Now hold that right there for me. Can you hold it?
Occupational therapist Jane Allrod forces John to use his left side, which is locked up from spasticity.
Now bring it to here. What we were doing today primarily was trying to get him to retrain his brain to understand how to use his arm and his leg, because those pathways have been kind of interrupted from the head injury.
Pick up the pace a little bit.
To rebuild strength in his legs,
Excellent job. Try one more time.
John wears a harness and walks up to 15 minutes a day on the treadmill.
Okay, now click on your name and say okay.
Despite some progress, John's rehabilitation could take years.
There you go.
We don't know how far he'll go. We don't know how well he will get. And that's hard. But you don't give up on him.
Lie down.
For John, the road to recovery may never lead back to skydiving. But for Sean Engbrecht,
Ready, set, go. I'll go first.
it's about to.
And then Roy will take pictures. You come into me. Got it. Okay.
George Van Horn has 700 hungry pet poisonous snakes. Sort of.
Okay, see if I can get this guy interested. This is one of our native Florida species. The eastern indigo grows to be the longest North American snake. The males can get up to around 9 feet. What you want to do is just put your arms out, just support it. That's good.
He owns and operates Reptile World Serpentarium in St. Cloud, Florida. It's one of 2 snake farms in Florida, and one of only 3 in the U.S.
We maintain a large colony of snakes that we collect venom from periodically, generally about every 10 days.
George doesn't sell his snakes to pet shops. He sells their venom to medical researchers and the manufacturers of anti-venom, the life-saving serum used by doctors and Al Cruz and his rescue unit to neutralize snake bites.
This guy's in the shed, so he's not going to be too happy about this.
But first, George has to collect the venom. It's called milking the snake, a tricky job that requires nerves of steel and a steady hand.
You can see how they ration it out. Okay. Ready?
After he collects the venom, George turns into the mad scientist of the snake world.
What we do in order to get the batches uniform, since there's some variation in these venoms, I pool, all the material and mix it till it's good and homogeneous. Now this is a huge amount of venom here.
George must purify the venom that is sent to medical laboratories for research, removing all the contaminants.
When snakes shoot the venom, there are a lot of cells, squamous cells that come off the venom gland, and a lot of things a lot of contaminants, and this gets rid of most of it.
The complex toxins found in snake venom have helped in neural biology, cancer treatments, and cell structure studies. And the proteins are a vital ingredient in certain heart drugs called channel blockers.
You know, a lot of what we've learned about blood chemistry over the last, 30, 40, 50 years has been figured out using snake venom toxin.
George collects deadly snake venom to help save lives. It's a job, he says, he wouldn't trade for anything. The Suncoast Community Health Center treats patients who might otherwise go without, migrant workers. The clinic's medical staff sees 20 pregnant women a day, including workers like Eloisa Perez,
38, 39 semanas.
who is expecting to deliver in 2 days.
Por una hora. Muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. Okay.
OB/GYN nurse Guadalupe Rendon knows the difficulties in treating young women like Eloisa.
Okay.
One of them is language.
Language is a big issue. You know, they don't speak their language, and they feel like, they don't have anybody with them to go, to translate. So sometimes they don't go.
Tiene que tener la cabecita para abajo.
La cabeza para abajo.
I came in for a checkup to see how my baby is doing.
Eloisa has been coming once a month for the last 7 months for regular prenatal checkups. Today, she's being tested with a fetal heart monitor. The normal range for a fetal heart reading is between 120 and 160.
Muy bien.
For Eloisa's baby, the reading is a healthy 148.
Bueno, me dijeron que tomar las vitaminas.
I was told to take my vitamins, exercise, eat well, and they also told me that when the baby does not move, I should go to the hospital.
Que cuando no se mueve bien.
Also, if I bleed or water comes out.
¿Sabe lo que vas a usar para el control?
No.
No. Hemos hablado, no.
This is the end of Eloisa's prenatal care. And now the only question for Eloisa is, will she have a boy or a girl?
Si no te ha aliviado, y si no nos llama y nos deja saber.
What's up, man?
At Daytona Beach's Biketoberfest, the revelry is in full swing. The party atmosphere has turned the streets into a Mardi Gras-like scene. It makes it tough, even for motorcycle medics.
We can try to figure the best path to the patient. So you really have to know your streets pretty well, back streets, alleyways, sidewalks, yards, whatever we have to do to get there. Generally not the yards if we can help it, the citizens get upset, but wherever we can get through.
As the night drags on, the frequency and seriousness of the calls seem to increase.
Usually about this time of night, you can kind of set your watch about some high-speed riding up on this end of our city.
And tonight is no different.
We were just kind of making our normal rounds. We usually head up this way about this time of night just to kind of cool off the bikes. And we rode up on a motorcycle down. Motor Medic 3 Daytona. We got a patient with a glass gown. Hey, hang on, partner, we're trying to help you. Oh, hang on.
According to bystanders, the man was doing maybe 90 miles an hour when he clipped a car.
Here's he landed face first on the motorcycle. Obvious head trauma, trauma to his lower extremities. Our main thing was notifying the hospital that we had a trauma alert and getting the patient packaged, start an IV so we can control his airway.
Hey, buddy, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, you just hang in there. We're working on you. We're going to get you out of here real quick.
When a victim has multiple injuries like this, especially head trauma, timely care is critical.
Yeah, we got a compound leg. We got a facial injury. He was laying face down, and we just want to get him on board and go.
The accident victim has had his neck immobilized, a breathing tube inserted in his throat, and his leg and facial injuries have received preliminary treatment.
Open leg above the knee.
All before the ambulance even arrived. Crucial treatment time has been saved. In this case, the accident was a totally predictable one.
Typical accident during Biketoberfest, automobile versus a motorcycle.
Joey, I need tape before you do anything else.
Oftentimes cars just don't see the bikes. Sometimes the bike rider's skills are less than stellar. And now without the helmet laws, we're running on, unfortunately, more serious head injuries and things of that nature.
The accident patient is taken to Halifax Medical Center, one of the major trauma centers on Florida's East Coast. Now it will be up to the emergency room team to try to patch the downed biker back together.
What hurts you the worst besides your leg?
He's awake, yeah. He's got a Glasgow 50. Then its hip fib's open.
In Daytona Beach's Halifax Medical Center, the emergency room staff works on one of the night's last Biketoberfest victims.
Relax your shoulders, okay? Relax your shoulders, let your shoulders down. That's it. Go ahead.
Give him a 500cc bolus ahead of start with you.
Doctors and nurses have been alerted by the field medics what to expect.
Can you tell me your last name? The guys that are in the ambulance, they give us his vital signs and what they think is going on with him.
Because he was talking to us. So
Yeah?
Yeah, if that won't
He's not
interfere
making a whole lot of sense right now. I talked to the guy that brought him in and told me what type of injury as far as the mechanism of injury and things like that.
Can you give me some suction? I got glass out of his mouth here, please.
The man's leg and face injuries, suffered when he was thrown from his motorcycle, appear less serious than originally thought.
Let's get the suture card in here and we'll go ahead and wash that out and just close it down here. Patient heart sounds are distant. What appears to be a normal sinus rhythm. Period. His abdomen is protuberant. There is an abrasion across the mid-abdomen located in the right lower.
But there's still the possibility of internal damage.
And we're going to assess his abdomen and his chest and his head to see if we've got any injuries that we're going to need to operate on. Hopefully he doesn't have anything really, really bad going on in his belly.
The man is only one of 15 cases the two teams of motor medics have responded to tonight. Some more serious than others.
Okay, hang in there, buddy. This is number 5 for us today, of people that are this ill. And then you've got the walking wounded that have like bikes go down or whatever, and they have broken legs or broken arms and that, but they don't have anything that's this severe. The ones that we respond to are the ones that are really, really, really ill, the ones that are going to die unless they have this all-out team approach. Guys, have a good evening. See you later, guys.
So we can leave things as they are right now?
Okay.
At 2 a.m., the night is finally winding down for the motor medics. It's been a tough night.
The adrenaline release is unbelievable because you never know what to expect.
Especially during an event as chaotic and explosive as Biketoberfest.
I think sometimes we're taken for granted, but you know what? We're always going to do it because it's our ball game. That's what we do because it's our job. And for the record, it's the best job in the world.
Come on. We can get rid of your fear. Come here. No, come here. Come here.
Most people are afraid of snakes, especially when they're this big. But Captain Al Cruz has had a lifelong fascination with them.
Large, it's very hungry, so keep it away from your face. If it's hungry, I don't want nothing to do with it.
His job gives him lots of hands-on experience with creepy creatures.
And I can tell you firsthand that they do bite, and it is an excruciating pain.
I'm both saving lives, and I'm actually dealing in the field that I have a background, knowledge, and interest in.
Paramedics who work in Miami-Dade County
You're petrified.
must receive special training for snake bites in classes like this one.
Probably 85–90% of the bites you're going to see out there are from pygmy rattlesnakes.
You can touch them, they're not slimy and they won't bite. No?
Preparing these recruits for the hazards of snake attacks is just part of the everyday reality of Florida life.
We usually have at least one in the crowd that is terrified of them.
It's very good as far as visualizing how large a snake can get.
10 days ago, 23-year-old migrant worker Eloisa Perez gave birth to her first child, a boy named Alex.
Sí, por favor, ¿me podría enseñar a dónde están los pañales?
Eloisa wants to make sure her new baby stays healthy.
Esta de aquí es para cuando el bebé tal vez no se quiera dormir, pues.
So she's shopping for all the basic supplies
También ahí hay shampoo.
a new mother needs.
Buenos días. Buenos días.
Eloisa knows she can't take care of Alex alone. For help, she relies on the Suncoast Health Center.
Alexis peso 6 libras.
Alex weighed 6 pounds 11 ounces.
Pues fue.
It was very fast, the birth of the baby.
Nació el domingo 18 de.
He was born the 18th of November
A las 4 de la
at 4 in the morning.
Today, doctors are giving Alex his first flu shot, a precaution many migrant workers don't always take. Nurse Guadalupe Rendon knows that routine health care is a luxury the workers often believe they can't afford.
With her, I noticed that she was excited with her baby. So she wanted to have a healthy baby. That's our goal, to have healthy babies and healthy mothers.
For Eloisa, this is only the first of many visits to keep her newborn son on the road to good health. In Zephyr Hills, Florida, skydiving instructor Sean Engbrecht is preparing to do what, for some, might be unthinkable. He's getting ready to jump.
Who am I going with and what's my slot?
Just 8 months after narrowly escaping death in a skydiving accident.
Okay, directly opposite you, will break.
There's no way, I would have no regrets. Had I died skydiving, I would have regretted nothing.
A broken neck, back, and pelvis might deter the average skydiver, but Sean is fearless.
There is a certain element of risk to it, and if you are not prepared to accept that risk or cope with that risk, then you should be doing something else.
As he flies to 13,500 feet, there's no turning back.
When you've already had happen the worst that can possibly happen to you, there's no fear.
From 5,000 feet, he spirals toward the ground at 120 miles per hour. At 2,500 feet, just 13 seconds before reaching the ground, he pulls the ripcord. Today, his landing is near perfect.
No regrets with the tears, mate. None. Because this time it's happy. It's really good to be back.
But even Sean knows that the distance between thrill and tragedy can be measured in milliseconds, especially in the fast-living city of Miami, when too much of a good thing can leave people overexposed.